Renowned for its fertile volcanic soils, well drained by the waters of the River Sipi and Chebonet, Kapchorwa is a regional food basket unrivaled by none, as its soils give it one of the highest crop yields in Uganda.
The people are generally survive on agriculture. So the agriculture is at least the economic base of the people of Kapchorwa, both for domestic use and for cash.
Farmers in this region normally harvest around 2.5 tons of maize per acre, which is one of the highest in Uganda. Having seen this vast potential with which Kapchorwa is blessed, Uganda Co-operative Alliance and Technoserve are implementing a USAID-Uganda Feed the Future producer organization's activity.
Over the past 1 year, this activity has been running in 12 districts of Uganda that spread across the regions in the north, the southwestern, central, and the eastern part of Uganda. We've been able to make remarkable achievements in the course of implementation, with one being access to business development services for these producer organizations. We've supported them to come up with bankable business plans, basing on which they've been able to access financial services. They've been able to improve their internal management systems, and there are more mechanisms in place now for businesses to be assessed and also be able to report to their membership as far as their performance is concerned. As an activity, we play a facilitative role, and we've initiated these synergies for professional management services between these producer organizations and management consulting firms in the marketplace. So these relationships are being built, and over time we are seeing the organizations become better and better.
Before UCA came in, we had no profits, okay? We had no records in place. So when they came, they said, no, for you to realize that you are really prospering or doing what, you have to have records. They took some people for record keeping training. Then finance management, the little money you get, you have to use it in this way. So they trained the people. So right now we can realize some profits and systematic work. There are no more outcries in our cooperative. That's why the membership is increasing every day, because people working there are skillful, they have got trainings. Now when Technoserve came, said no, when you have a problem, you have to say it. And if you cannot say it, you cannot only say it, but you have to write it. And then they now began teaching us how to write it. This writing is called advocacy. So Technoserve has taught us on how to advocate. So when you see a problem, you don't keep quiet with it, because you have a way how you can present it.
We've witnessed prolonged drought, and majority of these organizations have not been able to do business in terms of aggregation of produce and linking their membership to competitive markets as envisaged by this activity. I think the most hit region has been the eastern part of the country, where farmers in some of the areas lost nearly all the crop. And a case in point is Kaseremu in Kapchorwa, where over 900 approximately acres of maize were lost. It's really affected them, and as an organization, they've not been able to engage in business. Most of the members to these organizations that acquired loans from financial institutions have not been able to pay back. So there are lots of challenges that are coming with the climate change and prolonged drought.
In 2015, with the intervention of producer organizations' activity, the 1,700 farmers in Kasirem Area Cooperative were able to collect 2,400 metric tons of maize and 800 metric tons of beans. However, the 2016 prolonged drought has left this area cooperative counting losses.
For this year, bulking is at, if we can put in percentage, 0%, not even 0 point something, but 0%, because the organization has bulked nothing. Because of drought, nothing was harvested, as we rely very much on our farmers, what they produce.
I planted 150 kilograms. And this 150 I bought, I removed the money from the bank. It was 1.2. So right now, even the children are now at school are now starving. So I don't know what to do.
I planted maize 10 kilos in this land. If I was planted, I used 100,000 when I was planning.
Okay.
Then I planted with the bolea, 50 kilos of grams manure. That is, I bought at the 110. Okay. Now the maize they get the sun. Don't you see the garden?
I see.
Hey, I don't get anything. I don't even, I'm here, but I don't have even any plan. Me, I do.
This year, first season, I planted 2 acres. But from that 2 acres, I got only 10 bags this year, first season. Then second season, nothing.
And we had message from radios, TVs, that the meteorological sector telling us that we shall have prolonged rains which will last from September to November. So after getting such, it was even in papers, we now went and advised our farmers to plant. So after planting, the drought started immediately after 2 weeks of germination.
In a country that heavily depends on agriculture for revenue, every aspect of life is affected when projected earnings fall short.
Because all crops were affected by the drought, they could chase me from school every day because the father doesn't. The father had no money.
Depending on rain-fed agriculture has surely left the farmers of Kapchorwa vulnerable.
The effects of this are two-pronged. One is that we have got a very low food yield now, and therefore that means there's already a problem with the food security for our people. We have been mainly supplying this produce to World Food Program. They have been coming to buy from us, but now, at the moment, we can't supply them. So we are kind of losing that kind of market.
These are silos from World Food Program. They are supplied to us through CPM. That's the contracted accordion supply. So most of the farmers have these things. And when they have them, this one is for 1,200 to 1,250 liters, taking 10 bags, depending on the type of grain, either maize or beans. And we have this one of 750. We have this one of 500 liters, taking 4 to 5 bags, also depending on the grain. But when you visit farmers' homes or farmers' stores now, there are no grains. That's why these ones are still lying here.
Due to this loss in market share, Kaserem Area Co-operative is failing to pay the 240 million shillings loan got from DFCU Bank.
As I'm collecting the money, since I started, even 10% of members have not completed their loan. Most of them paid partly, and most of them have not reached the halfway of their loans. And now, most of them, because of the drought that we had, most of them are now resorting to sell their pieces of land that they have to pay their loan.
That is the biggest problem. And you know, a banking facility doesn't go by the calamities within the sector. So we are having already, some people are being arrested, property being confiscated, houses being sold, you see, because they have not met to the repayment schedule of their loans. Yeah, and some people have even taken off because they didn't want to see the house going with the children being evicted and what have you.
The money we normally get from the banks are for cultivation, are for farming. Now that the farmers are defeated, they have no option of paying back the money. They are going to sell off the land. The bank is also going to lose the customer, and the AC is also going to lose in terms of produce. Even if the weather stabilizes, then definitely, because most of our farmers are going to sell off the land, so that therefore means our production, the production and the bulking rate at the AC level will be lowered.
despite the dry spell, capturers' vulnerability still remains an irony, for the Elgon Ranges feed the district with numerous rivers all year round. The farmers in this region do realize the need for harvesting water for production. However, many haven't been successful.
Now the problem is I don't have enough funds for buying pipes because where the pipeline is far to take water to my garden, it's a kilometer. So now I'm trying my little best, but what I was expecting to get, droughts also take everything.
Kasserem Area Cooperative's loss is not a one-off. This change in climate has affected many other smallholder farmers in Uganda, but how then can they be saved?
Government usually gives guidance to farmers, and we always issue this through our early warning messages. For example, preparation of gardens for planting should be done when it is dry. You don't wait until the rains come and then you start preparing the gardens. You'll have actually lost a crop 50% if you did that because of the erratic nature of the rains. If the forecast says the rains are going to be short, we actually tell them plant early maturing crops, those ones which take a shorter time to reach maturity. We also guide plant those varieties which are drought tolerant. There are varieties which are researched, for example, maize. There is water efficient maize for Africa, which has been developed by research. This maize can tolerate some levels of dry spells. If you are going to have a spell which comes when it has reached flowering stage, it will not return you without a seed on the cob.
The government of Uganda, in its effort to help smallholder farmers join the money economy, has partnered with a consortium of 10 insurance companies to provide a premium subsidy on agriculture insurance.
To get the farmers where we would wish them to go, there must be credit facility for agriculture. If you can provide a credit facility for agriculture, then it becomes simpler to come into, yes, you have already provided the money, I'm investing this money, but I don't want to lose completely. Then you bring in agricultural insurance because the farmer needs to be protected against total loss of his assets. If he has got a loan, government should be able now to give him a cushion of insurance. Should the weather calamities, should the weather affect his production.
Agriculture insurance, just like any other agriculture that you do, or agricultural development, means you need to interact closely with the farmer. We ask the farmers to come together as a group and access the product. That way, if a farmer, for example, is in Kapchora, in a certain district or certain sub-county, and there are maybe 30 farmers there, we are able to service them as a group. For us, that is able to manage our administration costs. Because when we give you a cover, we have to come and visit. We have to come and check on the crop. When you get an issue happening on the farm, we have to send someone. It only makes sense if you're sending someone for 30 farmers as opposed to someone for one farmer, given the fact that we're going to charge you small money to be able to access the cover. So it's not really a problem. What we only ask farmers, they come as a group. They could be in a group for a certain purpose. They could be accessing money from a bank, and so they are together in a group. You know, a financial institution can access agricultural insurance for its farmers just because it is giving out loans to them. You could also be supplying someone, you know. You could be supplying someone who's taking your maize, or you have a contract farmer. You can access agricultural insurance via that contract that you have.
The government is paying 50% on agriculture insurance for the smallholder farmers and 30% for the big commercial farms. Water is fundamental for production and farming to be a viable business, but farmers can no longer depend on rain-fed agriculture only. There's therefore a need for synergized efforts from the farmers, government, and development partners.
We had written position papers after the training with Technoserve to the local government, the district local government, lobbying for gravity of mini irrigation systems because we have water rivers which do not dry. And if we can have gravity water, farmers can use it, extend it to their gardens and use it for mini irrigation. That's what we have. But for the lower areas, the solution is valley tanks.
You know, this is a mountainous area. We have so many sources of water. We also need to engage the government to see that we harness this water for domestic and water for production. Yeah, and that one will avert this element of disasters of this type.
The weather patterns have changed, and we cannot continue with the old methods of farming. So we really request the farmers and the government to educate, like UCA is doing, to educate the farmers to adopt the new technologies, especially in irrigation.
With a combined effort, there's surely hope that farmers can earn from their sweat and communities can thrive.